Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we are diving into an explosive Group K matchup for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and literally everyone is talking about it. It's a classic David versus Goliath scenario on the pitch, Portugal taking on the Democratic Republic of Congo. We're talking about one of the most elite, star-studded rosters on the planet, going head-to-head with a squad battling through pure, unadulterated grit to get back on the global stage. We're going to break down the tactics, the stars, and those betting odds so you know exactly what to look for when the whistle blows. Okay, so the big question right out of the gate is this. Will heavy favorites Portugal just completely dominate the field, or can DR Congo actually pull off a shocking World Cup upset? Make no mistake, guys, if the Leopards manage to neutralize Portugal's attack today, it's going down as one of the most stunning surprises in tournament history. For sure.
Put this massive gap into perspective. Just take a look at this number. Minus 350. Those are Portugal's moneyline odds to win it outright. For those of us looking at the US betting markets, oddsmakers are clearly establishing Portugal as the undeniable Goliath here. You've got to wager $350 just to win $100. The sportsbooks are incredibly confident. But hey, as we all know, World Cup football is definitely not played on a spread.
Why the massive odds? Well, just look at Portugal's pedigree. Currently ranked 5th globally, they are the undisputed heavyweights of Group K. I mean, this is a team rolling into the 2026 World Cup fresh off a wild 5-3 victory over Spain to become the UEFA Nations League champions. Under head coach Roberto Martinez, they've got one of the most complete, technically gifted, and just incredibly deep squads in the world. They actually qualified by totally crushing their group, capping it all off with a ridiculous 9-1 win over Armenia. They're an absolute juggernaut.
And when you look at this elite arsenal, you've got the captain, Cristiano Ronaldo, who at 41 years old is still bringing clinical finishing and supreme physical conditioning. This really might be his final dance to claim that elusive World Cup title. Then, out on the left wing, you have Rafael Leao, with his blistering acceleration and elite dribbling. In the middle, Bernardo Silva brings this unmatched tactical flexibility as a playmaker. And holding down the backline, Ruben Diaz, an incredibly reliable traditional stopper who just eats up ground duels.
Tactically, under Roberto uses what we call suffocating pressure. It's this super high-energy, possession-heavy approach. Basically, the literal second they lose the ball, they swarm. It's like a vice grip. Martinez usually rolls out a 4-3-3 or even an aggressive 4-2-4 formation, which gives his elite playmakers total freedom to roam and swap positions. That fluidity makes them practically impossible to predict. They overload the defensive lines, cut inside from the flanks, and absolutely suffocate teams with rapid midfield passing.
But shifting over to the other side of the pitch, we've got the underdog's master plan. The Democratic Republic of Congo is stepping back onto the World Cup stage for the first time since 1974. Let that sink in for a second. Decades of waiting, and they fought tooth and nail to get here, edging out Cameroon, surviving a nail-biting penalty shootout against Nigeria, and then taking down Jamaica in extra time. This team is emotionally driven, incredibly resilient, and they're backed by a passionate fan base that brings so much vibrant energy, music, and an unbreakable spirit to the stadium.
A huge part of this transformation comes down to their head coach, Sébastien Desabre. His core philosophy, discipline must begin on the pitch. Desabre took a national team that historically had a reputation for being structurally complex and kind of unpredictable, and he completely reshaped them into a highly organized, compact unit. Honestly, he operates a lot like a traditional English manager, micromanaging everything right down to the defensive alignments to guarantee absolute stability.
So, who are the Leopards' key threats? Now, they are missing their star winger, Yoane Wissa, to a knee injury, which is a really tough blow. But look at who's stepping up. Up front, you've got Cedric Bakambu, a lethal striker who perfectly uses his body and height. Over at right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, literally one of the most elite one-on-one defenders from the English Premier League. In the midfield, Noah Siddiqui, a super pacey attacking midfielder facilitating those counterattacks. And anchoring the whole defense is their veteran captain, Chancel Mbiva, who brings massive experience and is a huge aerial threat.
All right, so what actually happens when these two completely different styles collide? It's your classic tactical showdown. You've got Portugal's aggressive 4-3-3 strategy built entirely around dominating possession and overloading the final third. And directly opposite that, DR Congo is going to set up in a highly disciplined 4-1-4-1 deep block defense. They actually want Portugal to have the ball. They're just going to sit back, absorb that pressure, stay incredibly compact, and wait for the exact right moment to launch a rapid vertical counterattack.
For DR Congo to actually pull off this upset, they basically need to execute a flawless 4-step blueprint. Step 1, absorb that suffocating Portuguese pressure without breaking. Step 2, the absolute split second they win the ball back, trigger a lightning-fast counterattack running through Noah Siddiqui in that attacking midfield spot. Step 3, send long vertical passes up to target the sheer physicality of Bakambu. And Step 4, capitalize on set pieces. Congo has a massive height advantage here, and if they can force a corner or a free kick, guys like Mbemba become incredibly dangerous in the air.
Which brings us to what I think is going to be the absolute ultimate duel of the match. Can Aaron Wan-Bissaka's elite one-on-one defending actually shut down the blistering pace and dribbling of Rafael Leao out on that wing? If you try to take Wan-Bissaka on directly, he will just cut you down and take the ball. But if Leao can use his crazy acceleration to bypass him and get to the byline, it completely shatters Congo's defensive block. This specific matchup is going to be an absolute thriller to watch, and honestly, it'll probably dictate the entire flow of the game.
So how does Portugal neutralize that deep block and stop the counter? Well, they've got a clear blueprint of their own. First, overload the midfield, using the tactical brilliance of Bernardo Silva and Bruno Fernandes to create a numerical advantage. Second, aggressively push into the wide areas to physically stretch Congo's compact defense. Third, when Portugal wins the ball back, they need incredibly quick, decisive transitions before Congo can even set that 4-1-4-1 wall. And finally, guys like Ruben Dias have to maintain absolute structure at the back to sniff out those long vertical passes aiming for Bakambu.
Now let's pivot over to the betting markets. 2.5. That is the over-under goal line the odds makers have set. So they're predicting a pretty low-scoring affair. And it makes total sense, right? You've got one team aggressively trying to score and another team perfectly content to just sit deep, defend for 89 minutes, and hope for one lucky break. The under is sitting at plus 104, while the over is favored at minus 128.
And checking out the full moneyline odds, it just reinforces exactly how one-sided the experts think this is going to be. Portugal is heavily favored at minus 350. A draw, which, let's be real, would be a massive victory for DR Congo's defensive strategy, pays out at plus 420. And an outright DR Congo victory, plus 1,000. It's a massive long shot, but remember, this team thrives on that raw, emotional underdog energy.
Fox Sports analyst Chris the Bear Fallica sums it up perfectly. He said, "I do think Portugal will eventually find the net. I don't think there will be very many opportunities for Congo." And honestly, looking at the data, it's really hard to disagree. While Congo's discipline is totally admirable, Portugal's midfield is it's too fantastic. They'll likely dominate possession, and eventually that relentless, suffocating pressure is going to crack the Congolese wall.
But hey, that is just the data talking. And as we said right at the start, literally anything can happen when that whistle blows. So what do you think? Will Portugal's elite possession and star power win the day? Or can DR Congo's lightning-fast counterattack deliver the ultimate World Cup shocker? I want to hear from you. Drop your exact score prediction in the comments down below right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and enjoy the match.